So here with kings against an under the gun limper, very easy raise. Unfortunately, I haven't been paying enough attention to this player to see if he'd been limping before, if he'd ever limp re-raised. Those are obviously important reads to have. I'm trying to find other hands that he has played off screen. Interesting flop. I flop a queen of clubs, blocker, and kings with a backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. I think betting is okay. I'm actually going to bet for the purpose of kind of cleaning up some of my equity. I think I just get enough hands to fold. I don't get raised too often, and when I do, I'm in pretty bad shape. And if I check, my hand's pretty difficult to play. I think probably this play on this board would not be solver approved. It might be, but I think my betting frequency should be really low on 10-7-5 with two clubs against, two ranges that, I have the most high cards and high pairs. They have more of the rundowns and stuff like that. And also on this board, a number of turns are going to be very difficult for me. Basically, basically 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 9, kind of 10 potentially, depending on what my range is at that point. But I think that people won't raise me enough. I think that they won't play tough enough, and the player in the middle of myself and the other guy is in a difficult spot. So we do get to get some information on them. This guy limped 10-10, deuce-deuce. Also, after I'm going to go ahead and open this. I'll move this over here. After a bet and a call on this flop, he did not raise top set, which I think is a mistake. Anyways. I flop 3 pair here. This is a board I think I can size up a little bit. The reason I say that is if he's doing some folding in the big blind, which he may or may not be, he shouldn't connect with those lower cards super frequently. Not that I should either, but I'm going to have just the equity advantage overall. And I think I would do I think I would do a reasonable amount of checking there with some very weak hands with backdoors, so that strengthens my range a little bit. But to be honest, again, this sizing stuff I'm still trying to figure out. So obviously this is a board I would check pretty frequently. I'm just going to go ahead and bet the same amount. This is an exploit. I don't think this is good. But I was kind of hoping he, would do this. So the question now, do I call or shove? I think the answer is shove. This player, we've seen do some limping. We've seen make some passive plays. He's now making an aggressive play. And I just think that there's too great of a chance that he has a hand like ace deuce and would go with it now. Yet on like a 7 or a king of diamonds or something would give up the hand. In this case, he went with a 6-card flush. I don't know if I need to add chips immediately. How does this work? Okay, they took care of it. But yeah, another reason to fast play there. Obviously, I could call and get away on the turn. But anyways, the fact that he's doing this, it's actually pretty interesting that he's making a play like this, but he's not raising top set. His actual hand in terms of a raising hand on the flop, it makes some sense. He blocks the deuce and the 7, and he blocks flush draws. I know it makes his flush draw worse, but a lot of my continuing range there will contain a deuce or a 7 or a flush draw, or a combination of more than one of those. So he has a good check raise bluff, but he just needs to fold then once I ship it in. I like his play a little bit more, a little bit deeper. But yeah, I do like his hand for a check raise. But yeah, he has to just let it go when faced with 3-bet on the flop, because it's just too likely he's going to be up against a dominating draw. I mean, he has jack high, so any flush draw has him crushed, especially like if I just have jack jack, or I mean, we'll just call it ace ace or king king with a flush draw, he's dead to essentially, backdoor 6-8 or backdoor 2-pair trips without the flush coming, which I guess actually 2-pair trips it wouldn't come. Gonna fold this hand. I would have opened if folded to. I'm not just, I don't keep bringing this up because it's a bad beat, but I do want to point out, I do think that his hand choice for check raise is a good one, and one that a lot of people might not make. A lot of people realize that the 7 and a deuce are pretty good blockers, but it's important to keep in mind that the diamonds, the extra diamonds, serve as pretty good blockers as well. And his hand's like probably against 2/3 pot or 3/4 pot, whatever I made it. I think 3/4 pot, not quite good enough to continue. And so I very much like his play. Here, it's a little unfortunate that this guy's done some limping, but double suited kings against a raise and a call, and this guy's shown some odd tendencies. I think I just have to go for the 3-bet for value. And, not thrilled to be facing a 4-bet. Meanwhile, on the other table, so I would actually check this back against a lot of people, because the cold calling range there, I think, contains a lot of king, king, and queen, queen, or king high rundowns. And so I think this board should be checked a lot. But I'm going to assume that some of these players are going to end up calling too much and just go ahead and bet with the hand with a good equity draw. And I think sizing wise, I could do a couple of things. I'm going to just go ahead and pop pot. And on the other table, I really don't think that, I just don't think people do this light. But he also stuck it in with a jack high 4 flush draw. So I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to call and maybe fold on some ace high boards, of course. And this is going to be a tricky one. Meanwhile, on the right table, the queen hits the river, and normally this would be a check for me. He checked really fast, which makes me believe that he's a lot more likely to not have it, although obviously that can go both ways. Yeah, I'm going to go for a value bet. And on the other table, I have an odd spot. I'm just going to stick it in here. Obviously, I'm not really getting value, but I'm not folding, and I don't think I don't know, protection is pretty important here. So I'm just going to go for it. Obviously, I could lose to ace-ace. But now that I turn the additional equity against ace-ace, I'm not folding. Well, I probably wasn't folding anyways. And I think the SPR is low enough that it doesn't make sense to kind of, I don't even know what I would call it, trap there. The other table, he folded river. So kind of a good value bet in that I had the best hand, but didn't work out.